Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. This episode of Narcissism is a Network. The name of this podcast is Reed Matrix. So I'm trying to help you understand all the things that's happening around you. I'm trying to help you understand how all the structures and the systems around you impact you. And most importantly, I'm trying to help you understand that these structures, although you can't see them, they're invisible. You can't study them. You can modify them. And most importantly, you're going to be aware of their presence in order for you to survive. It's my contention that the bulk of your suffering is not coming from you, but coming from the people around you and you not being aware of it. I think that's the most significant form of suffering that anyone has, right? It's the matrix structures and the systems or the cliques or the structures or the gangs or the clubs and the rules that they make when you come into someone else's territory. So you really need to understand what Read the Matrix is talking about. These are very fundamental skills that I think that you should fundamental skills that you need to understand. I mean, this can cost you. These people will unalive you. And I'm going to show you exactly how they did it to Tupac. I'm not a Christian and I'm not a religious person at all. But I do study exactly what Jesus Christ taught. And I believe he didn't talk about some heaven in the sky. He talked about these narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths down here on earth. He said heaven is at hand. Right? But I think first you have to get out the matrix structures, meaning you have to learn how to handle the narcissists, the psychopaths, the sociopaths, and all the other idiots around you. Now, my series is on narcissism and network to help you understand that when you're standing in front of that sick narc, that awful piece of, you know what it is, right? You're not dealing with a person, you're dealing with a system. And you're someone else by remote is viewing you. And you're in a relationship with someone. And this is just the clone or the puppet that's there. And these clones or puppets, the narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths can be very cruel. Particularly if you don't understand who they are. And they all understand who they are. They all know it. They are all in it together. They all recognize each other. And they stay cool. You feed over there, I feed over here. If I need some help, we'll just go in the background so we can sort of maintain these two populations. That's how they talk behind your back. And when they come in your face, they're cheesing and smiling and acting like they love you. But then behind your back, they're trying to do everything they can to unalive you. So remember, narcissism is a network. And so in this series, Tupac was an actor. I'm trying to help you understand what Jesus meant when he said, you're not fighting against flesh and blood. You're fighting against power and principalities and high places. And this is what I'm trying to help you understand. Read Matrix is about helping you understand the power structures around you, the invisible power structures, the ones that keep you up at night, the ones that punish you if you don't do what they want. These are the structures that force you to bow down. You understand what I'm talking about when I say bow down. You understand it. You have to bow down and be subservient to the people above you in these societal structures. And if you get out of hand, they will open up a can of whoop ass. And you know what I'm talking about. And it's detrimental on the South Side because you don't have many resources, you don't have many job opportunities. So you get that type of abuse from these systems and these sick people in these systems, then they have a tendency to be really cruel towards you. Real cruel towards you. I sort of begin to treat you like you don't have any rights. Right? So in order to help you understand narcissism as a network and the power and principalities, in order for me to help you understand power and principalities in high places, I have to help you understand exactly what those power and principalities in high places did to Tupac, right? There's this narrative of Tupac. If you look at him as an artist and everything, then you start to see the gangster. You start to see all the hit him up, Mary had a baby and all that, dear mom and all that. Okay, that's not important at all. Those are just, that's just the thing he did as an occupation. But what about him as an artist? He was the beginning of a lot of very revolutionary trends that we're currently seeing now. He was the beginning of that. The darkness around him saw the potential. And they took him out and jumped on the train and took all the resources for themselves. All of them became billionaires. And the way they did it was masterfully. And as they were pinging Tupac back and forth, he was saying, I don't understand what the hell is going on. If I were there, I would have said, Pac, you know what, man? They put you on the Truman Show, bro. Put you on the Truman Show. Put Pac in the Truman Show. Put him in the Truman Show. Sick people do. What do I mean, Truman Show? Let's see. Let me keep that for a second. I may need to get to that.
Staying connected matters.
So let me give you some context here. Narcissism is a network, and these sick people always deal with each other as a network, always. That sick narc, that weak punk, that sick narc, that coward don't do anything without the appropriate backup. I mean, not a thing. So they always use their cast, and they never let you know who's all in on it, right? And so what you see is when these sick people, look at the previous podcast I did on Tupac the Saint caught between two sociopaths. If you are in the presence of one sociopath, like you have a parent, how are you going to survive that? You have a sibling, how are you going to survive that? Because these people don't stop ever. If you're married to one, oh my God, have children by them, oh my God, you're talking about a lifetime worth of suffering. You're talking about burdens, right? If you're in the presence of one of these sick people, I mean, you're going to have the fight of your life. If you connected to two, finito. I don't think you're ever going to survive that. I mean, that's like 100% unaliving. So it's very important. So when I say they put you in the Truman Show, meaning when you get but in front of a psychopath, narcissist, or two of them, they change everybody's opinion about you, right? So again, they work as a group, so it's going to be 1 versus like 12, but you don't know who all the 12 are. And when they engage with you, they're all going to have the same sort of rhetoric or saying the same sort of lie or start the same sort of rumor. And then from that key thing, and then they start to spread their lies and their contamination out around everyone around you, right? Now, once you get to that point where you caught between two psychopaths can reverberate off each other and just embellish the message and spread just devastating rumors and gossip about you. And they can create realities for you too. I had this sick narc that I working in the same capacity, working in the same area, sick narc, talking about me for years. I mean, this sick narc was able to even run commentaries, create situations like me and him friends. This sick narc was telling everybody me and him friends that we good. From this sickness, there's no way I'll deal with this sickness. Right? And so the sickness was saying to everybody for years that we're friends. And now, once this crowd of sociopaths had gotten that message out that we're friends. Now it gives him the right to say a lie or target me with lies. And they say, okay, yeah, they were just friends. You dismiss it because you say they're friends. But he had to set that whole lie network up first in order to be able to springboard additional lies. And so even with gifted people like me with a lot of energy, these sick people still try to put you in a Truman Show. They still try it. And then when they start grooming other people around them and forcing them to take their perception of you, Truman Show. Meaning everybody around you is lying to you. I mean, everybody. And you see these sick people doing it, and always investing in chaos, always gossiping. These sick people always have to control the narrative. Let me show you what the Truman Show is, okay?
Truman Burbank lives a perfect life.
Good morning!
Has a perfect job.
No way to guard against that kind of thing.
In a perfect town. All within a perfect world.
Look at that sunset, Truman. It's perfect.
He's never wondered why. Until now.
It's a bad time. We're way behind.
I'm onto something, Marlon. Something big. A lot of strange things have been happening. On the elevator, there was no backing on it. I looked out, there was people there, and on the radio, on the way to work, it starts to follow me around, just talking about everything that I'm doing. It feels like the whole world revolves around me somehow.
Cue the sun. You've become bored with watching actors get phone calls. Pyrotechnics and special effects.
Are you listening to a word I say?
I'm losing my mind.
While the world he inhabits is in some respects counterfeit.
Who are you talking to?
There's nothing fake.
Tell me what's happening!
No scripts. No coupon.
You're gonna have to help me!
My kids can't hide anything from me.
Right. You have to see the Truman Show. Truman Show is when you're around a fake friend and they laugh in your face, but then talking about you behind your back. That's what the Truman Show is. You get around all of these fake people who are basically psychopaths, narcissists, and sociopaths who are basically working together. They come to you as if they really like you and stuff like that, just to gather information and use it to target you. And so, and this is what I'm saying with Tupac. Is that they put him in a they put him in a cast, they put him in the Truman Show. And he faced it on both directions, right? He was cast in the Truman Show in New York. Remember when he said that when they attempted to kill, Puffy attempted to kill him in the elevator, and we'll go through that. He said, no one spoke up for me, right? He said several months later, when Puffy and them tried to address it, then now everybody's talking. You know, he sort of described how he was shocked that although he was around all of his quote unquote boys or all his quote unquote homies, no one actually spoke up for him. And no one came to his defense. And he's Tupac. So in this situation in New York, when he gets shot 5 times, they attempted to murder him, where was all his boys at? Right? You would have think it would have been a shootout or something like that. You would have think that as much as these guys are going back and forth and everything, you think it would have been a shootout or something like that. How come when no one shot back? How come when no one talked? Man, how come no one talked? And Tupac couldn't understand that. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find the video. It may be in this. It may be in my history. Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. Don't have a history. Okay, how do I do this? Let me see. Okay, I know it's this one.
I'm the religion that, to me, is the realest religion that is. I believe.
No, not that one. That's that interview at. Okay, it was a Tupac vibe. Okay, yeah. Tupac lost interview. 1971. He would have been 54, huh?
Just remember that right here, I could have been doing something with a lot of curses in it and give it up. So now on the next album, when I want to give it up from my home, where I'm at, everybody got a problem? Why they don't have no problem with Biggie saying Brooklyn in the house every fucking on they dig so hard that they never heard me say that I'm living on the West Coast. It's just that by me keeping it real, I always said where I came from. I always gave New York their props. On Me Against the World, I took a whole song to give it up. So now on the next album, when I want to give it up from my home, where I'm at, everybody got a problem? Why they don't have no problem with Biggie saying Brooklyn?
You know, he has a point there. My next podcast is going to be Tupac. None of the saints are welcomed home. All the saints are. None of the saints are welcome home. Is interesting to see. He commented on his interaction with New York. But let me try to find the point I was looking for.
I'm the one that told you. Because they have. They can't make money. They can't go anywhere. They can't look at themselves because they know the prodigal son has returned. I'm alive. The ghost is walking around. You know what I mean? And I'm alive talking. In jail, I didn't talk. I made peace. Now, everybody thinks that I disrespected or I love my East Coast fans. I'm from there. I'm eating New York pizza. I drive New York Jeeps. Want to hear New York. But I'm saying, let's keep it real. New York is commenting on me getting shot. And before, they slander their name like they did mine.
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Guns, no nothing. But gave them the message that if they want to see the niggas that did it, they was there when I got shot. Man, Study Wild would be mad when half of the major New York rappers, or they met pizza. I drive New York Jeeps, want to hear New York. But I'm saying, let's keep.
Okay, I think I found the point here. All right, so here, Tupac locks on here. He describes the events that took place during his shooting, right, in New York. Okay, and just listen to it. It's Tupac doesn't understand that he's an actor who's pretending to be a gangster, but he's really not a gangster, right? He's not a gangster at all. He's an actor pretending to be a gangster. But he goes into this environment full of real gangsters, like Puffy, and he expects them to follow the rules, right? He applies the rules that he has when he has access to his higher self and when he has empathy, and he applies it to the flesh, what Jesus would call the flesh. He applies it to the concrete world, to the entire people. He exhibits, Tupac the gangster exhibits a reality where everybody is primitive and everybody is representing their lower selves, right? So he didn't understand that low level of existence, there are no rules. It's strictly survival of the fittest, right? And he's looking at this environment saying, hey, it doesn't make any sense to me because no one is reacting the same way we're reacting. That's why he is the one in the Truman Show, right? In the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, he started noticing that things didn't fit right in his environment. Things didn't operate the way he felt they would. He got a certain degree of psychological torment and torture because of that. And then he began to sort of investigate even further. And then in the Truman Show, Jim Carrey eventually found out that it was a huge set. It was a huge stage, right? He is maybe getting to that point, but now he's looking around him and saying, in a situation like this, no one responded the way I thought they would have responded. And the reason why is at that very low level of existence, the rules are survival of the fittest. Tupac was applying rules that would apply to people who had access to their higher selves. And therefore, those rules apply amongst those within their higher selves. But those rules do not apply in the land of the unconscious, in what the land where Jesus referred to as the flesh, where he went down there acting and he got caught up. But listen to how all of the people on the set reacted towards him.
Get real for a second. If you have the level of music that you are, study. Go back and study. Study how Party and Bullshit was me before I met Biggie. You don't hear my style in his rap. Study how after I met Biggie, Ready to Die come out, his whole style changed. Study. Study why I would be mad. Study why I would be mad.
Now, Biggie stole his style, right? Remember, there was a rule, you're not supposed to steal another man's style. Yes, you can in a land, what you call it. That's not only everyone stole from him, not only Biggie stole his style. And then I'm gonna go back and see what Pac is saying. I'm gonna go back and look at what Pac is saying about this to see how his style was stolen. So when Biggie stole his style, Biggie stole his potential. He stole his potential for it. And then Puffy tried to go in on him.
When half of the major New York rappers, or they managers, or they agents, or they somebody was there when I got shot, and nobody could give me no information.
Right. So, attempted murder, the rappers, everybody there, nobody said anything. Those are the actors. Well,
study that. Study how when Wu-Tang got their chain snatched at 6'6" Deuce, I not only found who did it, but gave them the message that if they want to see the niggas that did it, they can see them.
So, apparently, Wu-Tang gets the chain snatch. Tupac gets in a situation, find the chains, get the chains back, and say, hey, if you want to go handle them, we can do it. That doesn't exist in that primitive 3D world that all the other sociopaths get in. That's like, Tupac is trying to change things where he's trying to apply this because he believes he's in the land where people have empathy. So he believes they're going to understand what he's saying. But he's not. He's on the Truman Show, meaning he's surrounded by nothing but psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, right? And so when somebody tried to kill him, they just keep going. Here's another thing about the Truman Show that these narcissists put you in when they get all around you. Remember, everything that they have is fake, right? You encounter narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. Let's say you see them. Let's say you were with Tupac that day, right? He goes into the place where he gets shot up, right? Before all that happens, you'll see the guys hugging. Hey, man, how are you doing? Oh, I miss you. Doing their banter and all that stuff. Now, when you see them doing that, that's only a performance. It's only like a ritual. It's only like a display. There's nothing behind the interactions. Like, They are not really friends. They're professing to be it, but they're not really friends. They are not close. They don't even like each other, right? They're only doing it because they're forced to sort of negotiate with each other because they're on the same matrix structure that they both have to survive in. That's the only reason why they're doing it. So you see all this allegiance to this is my friend, this is my bro. It's acting. There's nothing else behind it. No. Look. Like on the south side of Chicago, since it's inundated with narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, you like go to like access things, like access a church, but there's no one there to actually help you. Right? So you go to a church, but nobody actually help you. It's more like a entertainment spot. You know, you go to a hospital and they don't even treat you, right? On the south side of the hospital, they have fake doctors running around. There's a doctor named Dr. P who runs around treating people on the south side of Chicago. He's a fake doctor. So you go into hospitals on the south side of Chicago because it's inundated with these psychopaths, narcissists, and sociopaths, and you don't even get treatment, right? You go to school, but you don't get an education. But look at all this money spent for school and education, right? So in areas, in places where these narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths sort of manage things, all the things inside their world is just, it's a facade. Everything is plastic. There's no substance behind it, right? You see, in the situation where Tupac was in, where it still happens now, and it seems like, I'm not sure when anybody's going to understand this. This one little white rapper, he's a in real life streamer, right? He had this really nice silver chain, stuff like that. He's streaming. Someone came up to him with a gun and snatched his chain right in front of his like 6'4", 300-pound bodyguard, right? And so you have the streamer with his camera, and the guys come up with the gun, put it to his side, snatch his chain, be like, man, shut up, boy. Don't say anything. This chain belonged to me. And then just calmly walk out. And then he turns and he looks at his security guard. He looks at the security guard, and what does the security guard say? And then he said, man, why didn't you do anything? And then the security guard said, hey, they had guns, right? So this is social media. So all of it is fake, right? So he said, well, don't you? And then the guy didn't say anything, but I'm sure the guy is saying that I am not going to shoot anybody or get into a gunfight over you, even though I'm your security. I'm not doing that. Right? So the kids with social media, when they hire security, you know, if they want somebody to shoot back, they're going to have to hire some licensed contractor to do that type of work. Not a social media security guard. You just want a big guy, preferably black, muscles, dressed in black. Maybe have a bulletproof vest on or something, like make it look really, really like you're under a lot of protection, but there's no protection. And so you have all of these idiot rappers going on out there with fake security, right? With costumes on. So fake security. You go, these rappers going into these places in the flesh, around these people with the appearance of safety, but with but wearing costumes. There's no ability, the security has no ability to react to a situation that involves a gun or anything like that. They'll just run away. Right. And so even in this Tupac world where he didn't understand, even the security is fake. Right. Even the security is fake. And he learned that later. On this occasion, when he was shot in New York, he was with his friends. Why didn't they blast back? I mean, why wasn't this Tupac was in a shootout? Tupac thought he was going to get hit and his boys were going to fire back. And what do? They just leave the other way. And then the entire folklore around gangsters and what they do, Tupac got it all wrong. Okay, listen, the gangsters They're not loyal to each other. When they get together and one of them get taken out, the other people, unless it's like a relative, the other people don't do anything about it. You know, when one of them fall, they just join again. They just leave the game, go on to the next subject. They'll just move on. They don't have to. They just choose a completely different issue to get involved in. But you're dead. Remember? West Side till I die, and then after he died, there was no more East Coast, West Coast beef. And he was betrayed by all of the security and all the people who were around him who said nothing. But look at here.
Man to man. Just you and them. No guns, no nothing. If you feel like that. That's all I ask for.
That's all he's asking for. He's trying to set rules in the jungle, man. You know, that's why he's the one that's not here. And everybody else, everybody who's fighting with is still here.
That's all I ask for. If you're going to act like you a gangster or a G or the king of New York, I'm expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm going to want to crush your empire.
See, he's playing. He's an actor playing a gangster. But he's using a logic that comes from gangster movies. And he's trying to apply them to real world circumstances. And he's saying that the real gangsters are not, the people who killed him are not acting like gangsters, and he doesn't know who is it. He doesn't know who did what, but he's saying you're not gangsters. You are. Because this is not what happened on the gangster movies that I watch. Right? Now, on the gangster movie he watches, it's not reality. Remember American Gangster and everything, when the guy like shot him in the head, slapped him in the bar and all that stuff, big scenery and things like that. It was, you know, dramatic like that, stomping people out and all that stuff. That's what Tupac did. That's what he did. Don't believe me? Let me show you. Let me go back to this this awful fight with Tupac in the MGM Theater. And this is the behavior that ultimately cost him his life. You know, I think he didn't understand how karma worked. Karma worked like that. Let me see if I can find. And I want you to see something. Okay, this movie may portray it better. Okay, yes, Magic Johnson.
Gunshots to the block, the front stops. Niggas was calling cops, people shot, nobody stopped. I wonder when the world stopped. Caring last night, you get shot while the whole block standing. I will never understand this society. But they try to murder me.
Look at security there.
On my homie John Reed. Got a little baby's crazy, they gon' fantasy. Tell me where my enemies see when they see that. Believe it, if it does, gotta.
Oh, here's the guy. Okay, here's the guy that they stopped. Let me see. And I want you to see the fight. If you see the fight, you'll see that Tupac was living in a delusion. He was in a Truman world show, doing things that did not apply to the circumstance. Okay, so look at this. Okay, which one? Let me see. Which one was Tupac? You know, okay. Now understand, I can't find the one on here, but understand what I'm saying here. Okay, when in the previous message, the previous podcast, I was saying there's a huge difference between gangsters and pimps, right? And when Tupac moved to California, his messaging, his clothing changed from gangsters to more like pimps, started looking more like uh, like Snoop Dogg, right? And I was saying that this was him becoming more and more impaired because his messaging became very sloppy. When he went to California, you really didn't understand who he was, right? And then you see him doing this type of behavior here. Now, this he Tupac viewed this as gangster behavior, but no, this is like pimp behavior, right? This is stomping someone down in the street. And pimps, like the only people I know do things like this are things like pimps. Gangsters don't do that. Gangsters hide in bushes, right? Gangsters hide in the shadows, right? And gangsters are trying to do something. They're trying to end your life, right? However, in this video, so their methodology, the end result is the same. They have a target, and the goal is to unalive the person. That's the gangsters thing, and they do it in darkness. They don't do it out in front of everybody, right? But however, this is Tupac's sort of portrayal of a gangster, and he does it the same way it happens in Hollywood. He stomps them down, and that says several things. Gangsters understand that there's no loyalty amongst thieves, and so they will constantly watch their back. For example, remember when they described sort of Diddy with Jennifer Lopez, right? And how he would bring the gun into the club. And so that's characteristics of gangsters. Gangsters are the ones where they prefer situations where they're the only ones with a gun. Whereas Tupac was going into a situation where everybody had guns except him, and that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't survive for the day. So in this video, he was stomping someone out, and that's not what gangsters do. That's what sort of pimps do and everything. And that sort of showed that he was really lost inside of this. He's really lost inside of this Truman show. Now, after Tupac's death, like he said, Biggie stole his style. And then all the other people who were around took his ideas and they simply made them their own, and they expanded his ideas. It led to social media. It led to in real life, and these branches, these new sort of entertainment industries. He's the forerunner of it. And if he lived long enough to structure it, then he could have capitalized on that. And that would have been more like dynastic wealth for Tupac. I mean, it made multiple people billionaires. Remember the Kim Kardashian for the social media, right? Remember before Paris Hilton. Remember Jay-Z, 2 different chords. Jay-Z, remember Kanye. All these various chords of entertainment actually came from him. And this was the circumstances that led to his unaliving. Make sense? Makes sense. So here, now, from the fiasco in New York, the shooting, he ran to California, right? And when he ran to California, he ran into this dude, who's a real gangster. And what did he do when he went to take someone out? What did he do? He just ran him over with the truck. That's what gangsters do, right? He ran him over to the truck and said, I don't give a fuck. I smoked his cigarette and waited for the police to come. So let me show you this. Should night run? Look, this is gangster stuff. So he had a disagreement with someone, and so what did he do? Run him over with his truck? Trigger warning. Trigger warning. I don't know if it's a trigger warning. Look, the other guy over here. One guy here. That's what gangsters do. Um, and then let me show you here. And then look, 28, 28-year prison. And then he wanted to go to the hardest part of prison. Let me see here. Let me show you how he turned himself in. It was weird. He was just like smoking a cigarette, like calm and cool.
Ready to fast track your healthcare career?
One of the biggest names in rap music is in jail this morning. We've just learned minutes ago that producer Suge Knight was arrested. He's being held on $2 million bail.
Check how calmly he checks himself in.
Like MC Hammer, 2 men.
Notorious rap mogul Suge Knight turned himself into police around 1 a.m. this morning, 10 hours after fleeing the scene of a deadly hit and run in Compton.
So far, the people we talked to said it looked like it was an intentional act, so we're handling it as a homicide.
Knight and 2 men were involved in an altercation at a fast food restaurant, where Knight allegedly struck both men with his car, killing one and injuring the other.
I was told he went forward and backwards.
Knight, according to his lawyer, was trying to escape after being attacked when he accidentally backed into the 2 men, one of whom was reportedly a friend. Detectives say earlier that day, Knight was also involved in a confrontation on the set of the upcoming biopic Straight Outta Compton, which centers on the early years of the rap group NWA. Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records, worked with artists like Dr. Dre and Tupac Shakur, but he's also known for his lengthy rap sheet.
So, so remember how Tupac described the people around him in New York? Said they actually, everybody was around, watched them and tried to unalive me, and nobody said anything. And then he runs over there to the West Coast and starts saying, thug life till I die, things like that, over to this sociopath. This is a real sociopath, right? It's a real narcissist. And Tupac is pretending to be one, right? Let's see here. Now, let me go to okay, I think that's it. I want to sign in. I want to sign in. Well, anyway,
as you said, we talking 27 years later. Okay, started doing the book. I don't know when he exactly started writing it,
Right.
but there's 4 TV appearances or times it was spoken on.
anyway,
4 different.
I'm gonna try and show.
Do they have it right?
There was only 2 people in the car.
Into the DA is the one.
So look at this. Okay, so here, fast forwarded 25 years, 26 years after Tupac's death. Then they asked Suge Knight, what's his thought, and basically he says, "F Tupac," right? He said, "Me and Keefy D go back." Keefy D is the guy who purportedly set all this stuff up. But listen to Suge Knight in his own world. Suge Knight understands that there are no honor amongst these. You know?
That shot Tupac, and that it was done with the full knowledge of Keefe. Do they have it right?
There was only 2 people in the car. And Pac not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this. And I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because, number one, he wasn't the shooter.
Number two, he came to my ear and told to let me go and tell the truth. They still didn't let me go.
If you are called to testify in this case,
I wouldn't be.
why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Well, number one, okay, because I'm not going to get on the stand and testify on somebody for what?
They seem to be saying that Orlando was the shooter and Keefe was in on it, that he had full knowledge of what was going down, and it was revenge for Orlando getting beaten up by Tupac and his team at the MGM after the Tyson fight. Is that correct?
No.
Then who shot Tupac?
It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that part.
To summarize, you are saying Orlando was not the shooter, although you won't say who the shooter was. You are not saying whether Keefe was involved in any way in the shooting. And you are saying that if you're called to testify by either side, you will not comply. You will not testify. Do I have that right?
1,000%. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't testify. None of that. You know, at the end of the day, free Keefe D.
You know,
He said, at the end of the day, F Tupac, free Keefe D. Right? This is the way it really was all the time. And Tupac never could get it right. Why? Because he was the one cast in the Truman Show, meaning he's around a bunch of psychopaths and sociopaths, and they create what reality they need to in order to alienate you. And let's go back to the death of Tupac and what happened that night. He was with an entourage, right? I mean, he had security, right? I mean, and then think about that. All the people around him, remember, he complained in New York that everyone saw what happened to him and everyone remained silent. And how did all those people get to him if he had so many boys and so much security, right? Then when he goes to California and he gets unalived after that, remember all of those people pitching in? Where were all of them, right? Remember, this is a vehicle. No one shot back, right? No one gave chase. How is it that one vehicle and you with an entourage and none of your security follows to see where the people go? I mean, it's a whole crowd of people, right? You could have ended it right there. But Tupac wasn't a gangster. And the gangsters don't do that in that world. They don't chase people. I mean, after you get a kill and everything, then the movie's over. They don't go chasing people down the block. And even after all of these years, no one actually said anything. And all those people around Tupac, right? So here's what I'm trying to help you understand. When Jesus said, it's not about powers, it's not about flesh and blood, meaning you can't just look at surface conversation, how people look and what they say as the truth. You have to look at that structure you're in and whether or not that structure is primarily being managed by a narcissist, psychopath, or sociopath. If it is, then that whole structure you're in is called the Truman Show, meaning everybody's going to believe what that narc tells them to believe, not what reality is. You go along with reality where the narc changes everyone to a different reality, but no one tells you. That's why Tupac expected for the rules to be different when he dealt with the flesh, or when he dealt with the primitives, or when he dealt with narc collections of narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, because he didn't understand that they always came around with a network. Right? He didn't understand. And ultimately, that's what cost him his life. Now, this process of getting the person in the Truman Show is basically to exploit them and to snatch their resources. This night and that series of events that were brought on by agitation by all of the people who were stomping him, not just Tupac, it was a collective effort, but Tupac was the only one who paid the price and everybody else simply remained silent. You got me? Okay. Well, that's all I have to say for today, folks. Yeah, it's all I have to say for today, folks. Join me next time for Tupac was an actor. Next, I'm going to my next podcast about Tupac is going to be about. Let's see here. The next podcast is about Tupac and the shadow. Tupac didn't understand the concept of a shadow and what it was. Hopefully, I can help you understand. So let me just repeat: narcissism is a network, and Tupac was placed in the Truman Show, and they did it to rob him of his resources. They took all his ideas, and after that, they all became billionaires off of it. So hey, this is Reed. You guys take care. Ciao.